Yeah, but at the same time, bro, it's a lot more hidden than what it used to be. It used to be just blatantly out there, out and about. But now it's more hidden. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's very hidden. A lot of people who didn't believe that they think like that start to understand that they really think like that.
All right, but anyway, Tay Livingston, my podcast guest. I'm doing a little different introduction this time. You know, we're gonna just flow into the conversation.
Switching it
But
up a
yeah.
tad bit.
But anyway, I feel like that's mostly like white liberal. I feel like that's mostly like the white liberals that will have like BLM stickers all over their car and virtue signal about how bad racial tension is. Those are the people that actually exhibit the most like signs of racism.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does. So to run it back, just in case I know we just started, to run it back, the question you asked me was, I think we're in the most non-racial era.
I think I personally think that we are the least racist and the most tolerant that we've ever been in history. I really believe that, from my own experience, from living here, from the interactions that I have as a pedicab driver. Like, my interactions are equal no matter what color you are.
Right. Like,
equal. So I feel like when the media is like, oh my God, racism is such a big deal and white supremacy is running rampant and XYZ, I feel like it's just a lie. Like, it just isn't. It's not true, and you use a few isolated incidents to create a false narrative to keep people divided and fighting with each other. That's really what I think is happening, man.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it all just sucks, period.
No, it's true. But, at the same time,
it's horrible, but it is what it is. This is reality we're talking about. We can't fantasize and think that it doesn't exist, because in my opinion, I think it'll always exist.
It'll never not go away, right?
It'll never go away.
That's the thing. It's like people talk about like white supremacy and stuff like that. I'm like, well, like, there will never be a time when white supremacy is never not a problem. Like, it'll always be a problem because white supremacy by definition is a problem, right? Like, it'll always be bad. Like, that's never going to not be a problem.
Right.
But, like, have you experienced anything like that, like, being in Austin?
Yeah, I have.
So you want to share?
Because you know I bartend.
You bartend, yeah. So, like,
there's recently, like, when we started right after the pandemic, right after, even though
we're still kind of going on.
It's still going on. But when the bars came back into play, people were just like, I don't know what was going on, man. It was madness, and like people's true colors started to come out because they're isolated for so long. They're frustrated, and so when you mix that with alcohol or what other supplements that they're using, they lash out. And so there's times where I was being called the N-word or.
Oh, I actually heard that story.
Yeah.
And Gary knocked that dude out or something.
Yeah.
That's
I got in a fight with a white dude because he didn't know how to respect somebody. It's like, man, don't like recently last week, older gentleman, he was a Republican from Florida, kept calling me boy. And
what?
He kept calling me boy.
Like, how's like?
He was like, no, I don't need any help, boy. He's like, all right, yeah, I got this, boy. Excuse me, boy. This is multiple times, and I ignored it.
But was he doing that to just you, or does he just talk like that to anybody that he thinks is younger than him?
I didn't hear him say boy to anybody else
but
me.
He was only calling you boy?
He was only calling me boy.
It's pretty bad, dude.
And shit, in my mind, I'm a grown man. Don't call me boy. And where I'm from, boy is you're downplaying me. I feel like I'm beneath you, or you're looking at me like I'm nothing. Do not call me boy. And I had to let him know, sir, I'm not no boy. Do not call me a boy again. And he respected that.
Okay.
Yeah, he ain't got no choice but to respect that, or you can get up out of my face and leave my bar.
But he respected it.
Yeah, he did.
He respected it. He didn't say anything back to you.
But at the same time, I shouldn't have to correct a grown man.
To call you that. That's a little crazy.
Yeah,
that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. But then there's also an incident on. Have you heard about the car shows that were happening on like Cesar Chavez, like on this like luxury building?
No, I didn't hear about that.
So like, basically like a bunch of like black and Mexican like a bunch of black and Mexicans would like be having these like old classic car shows, right near like Fiesta Gardens, like that park. I think that's where it is. Like, and they built like this luxury building like right near there.
Yeah.
And you started having these people like calling the cops on the people because the music was too loud and they were like being disruptive. And one dude was saying that it was like this threatening display of toxic masculinity and all this stuff. And it's like, yo, these are like literally like the people that were probably posting BLM memes on their Facebook. You know what I mean? And having these science is real, love is love, Biden and Harris, all that shit. Like, those are the people that were probably calling the cops on a group of black and Hispanic people for doing something that they've been doing for decades in their own neighborhood.
In their own neighborhood, yes. It's insane. It's very insane. And it's very... It's sickening. That is
That's
sickening.
crazy.
It's sickening. We're over here trying to get together as a community and have fun and enjoy ourselves without any problems, without any chaos, without any police, without any type of brutality. And then you got somebody across the street with a neighborhood that's gentrified.
That you gentrify, like, you push these people out. Like, this is not your neighborhood, man. Like, you're living on, like, borrowed time, so to speak. Like, you can't do that.
Yeah, no.
You cannot do that. Especially it's happening in the daytime. It's not like you're like seeing drug deals and shootings and gang activity. You're seeing a car show of people having a good time, like congregating. Like, why would you do that?
What they should have did was
made friends with the people.
Yes, they should have came down. Hey, what's going on? I just want to introduce myself.
Hey, we live here. Yeah, you guys want anything? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, why would you not?
And they would have been like, "Yo, come get a plate."
They would have definitely said that. They definitely would have said that. 100%, man.
Do you want to smoke?
Yeah, they would have 100% done that. And I guarantee you, probably a bunch of people in that building were probably doing that. But it's always the bad apples where that stuff
one.
gets like highlighted. But like, and then our mayor comes down to like show support for the car show.
Oh, did he?
He did. But
did he?
But I'm like, bro, your fucking friendly real estate and development policies that push for these condos to get built are the reason that those people are even there in the first place, calling the cops on these guys. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, you're so full of shit. Like, you're just doing this as a political move. Like, you do not give a flying fuck about these people that you protect.
Who told him to go to this event? That is insane.
I don't know, but I'm not gonna lie. Like, it actually was a good PR move. But that's all it is.
I don't blame
that's
him.
all it is. It's a PR move. Like, that means nothing.
So, everything's going on with this George Floyd stuff. Give me a quick insight on like where do you stand and what do you think is gonna happen?
I think the cop is guilty of murder, and at the very least, he's guilty of he's guilty of like at least first degree assault and battery, and like third degree or second degree murder, or like negligent homicide or manslaughter, or like first degree manslaughter. He's guilty of a crime that should put him in jail for at least 10 years. That's what I think. I think like he's guilty of a crime that at minimum should put him away for at least 10 years, considering his track record. He should never be a police officer again. What he did on video was fucking egregious. But that being said, I think he's going to walk.
Do you?
I think he's going to walk. I mean, if I was in a jury, I wouldn't want him to walk, right? Like, don't get it twisted. I don't want him to. But I think that with the makeup of, like, this jury, with what the media is trying to do, with the fact that, like, a bunch of these global elites, like, it seems based on how this year has been going, they want division.
Yeah.
It seems like there is an agenda to divide our country and cause us to fight each other and cause us to have riots and do all this stuff. Like, I think that he's going to walk, because I think that these global elites want riots and they want civil unrest.
It's a big statement. It's a good statement. I don't think he will walk, but I'm gonna tell you right now. Say he gets 10 years.
Well, I hope you're right. Okay.
Say he gets 10 years. He's only doing 2 out of that 10. He's only doing 3 out of that 10. 1, because he was a police officer. 2, because he has the money to back him up to get off of.
Does he have money though?
He can come up with money, man. There's going to be so many people donating.
To Derek Chauvin.
Yeah.
Maybe like Kyle Rittenhouse or somebody else, but Derek Chauvin, you think people are going to give money to that guy? That's pretty bad if you're giving money to Derek Chauvin. That's bad, dude.
You'll be surprised, man. You'll be surprised where some of this money comes.
I'm surprised at what I'm seeing on Twitter, because when this first started, there were a whole bunch of like Trump-supporting white conservatives that were everyone is unanimous on the fact that this guy murdered somebody. Remember when it first started, everyone was unanimous on this, right?
Yeah.
And then like you saw all the shit that went down during the summer and like the property damage that occurred, and just the fact that like the media gaslit us about like COVID and how we had a big COVID outbreak right after all these protests occurred, and no one said that it was because of that or even attributed it to that. Like it was just basically like, you got lied to, and it just perpetuated this like false narrative, and you saw like, small businesses getting destroyed and ransacked when they've already like coming off a lockdown. And then no one was showing any sympathy to them, and you see this stuff happening for months and months and months. All of a sudden, like a lot of those people are now saying, "Well, fuck this, Chauvin's innocent."
Yeah.
So it's like I'm seeing a shift in narrative from a lot of conservatives who were all on the same page with people who just wanted this guy put away. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what I think.
It's like, all right. So it's very unfortunate for everybody who was involved with this George Floyd incident. One, for the witnesses, because they witnessed a man lose his life in front of them, and nobody should witness anything like that. Nobody. I'm talking about nobody. There was kids there. There was a older gentleman who was there. There was a USC fighter who knows like certain techniques, how to like really take somebody out, and he was letting them know. There was the lady who was a firefighter, and she was like, "Yo, like, calm down." There's different races there at the same time, so it wasn't just like it was just black people.
Everyone was there. Everybody was there. But then you also got to look at the toxicology report, and he had a fentanyl overdose.
Yeah.
When this happened, and then there was a video I just saw on Twitter where he said, "I ate too many drugs."
Yeah.
Help me! I ate too many drugs. I'm like, there's going to be some asshole on the jury that's going to not convict or try to hang the jury or deliberate this clear-cut case longer than he should because of that evidence. And I do think that when they select the jury, they deliberately put those people on a jury. So I think that, like, if I'm on a jury, I'm convicting this guy. No matter what, like, this isn't worth the potential unrest that will come across. Like, this guy's got no redeeming qualities, right?
Well, one, you're a professional police officer, and you're trained to deal with people who are under the influence if they're under the influence. And so if he's telling you I'm under the influence, then you should use different tactics.
You don't need to put your knee on this guy's fucking neck while that's happening.
He was already in the car.
Yeah, well, they threw him out. Like, no, he wasn't. He was on the ground when they put the knee on the neck.
Well, I'm talking about they had him in the car at first, and then they dragged him out.
Did they? I saw the video. I thought that they dragged him out of his own car, not the police car. Oh, yeah, he wasn't. I think he was in the police.
He was in the back of the police car.
Yeah, why would they do that? That makes no sense.
You should have left him in there, wait for him to calm down.
And he wasn't even attacking anybody. He was just yelling because he was scared because he was ODing. He wasn't like, he didn't like put his hands or try to attack the officer in that video at all. No, this cop should go to jail for murder, or he should go to jail for a long time.
Yeah.
The family's going to get a lot of money from the city, which is good.
Is it though? I mean, yeah. I guess it's good, but
it's good for the family, but it's also not good. It's also not good because
no amount of money
your taxes
in this world worth his life.
100%. No, I agree. And then if you don't fix how people do policing, you're gonna continue getting the same shit and the same type of civil unrest and the same type of division, the same type of distrust that we feel with one another. And like this type of stuff keeps perpetuating and persisting. That's how you get real fascism, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Like. Because Donald Trump, that administration was not, contrary to what people said, that's not a fascist administration at all. It was probably the opposite. You may disagree with me, and I know a lot of people that disagree with me, but I could like explain why I felt as though it was like the least fascist administration that we have had in a long time and might continue having in the future.
Well, explain to me.
Because do you know how fascism works?
Not to the fullest.
Okay, so like the basic definition of fascism is when you have governments and large megacorporations teaming up with each other to exert monopolistic influences on both government and large corporations. Okay? Donald Trump couldn't even exert control over his own administration.
He was firing people left and right, couldn't control
anything. There was no coordination amongst his own administration. Okay? So if you can't even exert control over your own administration, and you're too like pig-headed to realize that or defer to people who have been in government longer than you, you're not going to really be able to accomplish all that much. And then you're also not going to be able to coordinate very well with the private sector to consolidate power. And I think that's a reason that nobody talks about. I think it's a reason why like a lot of small businesses did really well under Trump, and a lot of small cap companies, had like really good growth in terms of their stock prices going up because nothing was regulated because you couldn't do anything to regulate anything. And so like what it did was like profits were through the roof, but profits were through the roof for everybody. So like small companies, small businesses, like a lot of people who didn't really have too much. Like the Donald Trump presidency was a phenomenal financial opportunity that a lot of people missed out on, myself included. Right, so that's how I like look at it. But if you keep like,
if we're talking about finances and stuff like that, but if we're talking about the community, the East Side community, you can go to every household and be like, "Yo, do you like Donald?"
They don't like him. No, none of them like him, and I understand why. But I understand why, and it's because the shit he says on Twitter is really inflammatory, and a lot of the people that were like his hardcore supporters said really inflammatory, divisive shit, and they didn't understand how to empathize with people in that community, and they also didn't understand how to communicate with people within the community as to how they can benefit from this guy's presidency. Nobody made an effort to go into these communities and say, hey, man, you have this really unique financial opportunity ahead of you. There's a huge wealth gap. here's what you guys need to be doing to take advantage of this presidency, because there was a lot that you could take advantage of with that guy in that administration.
So even being a president, bro, being a president, you should be the biggest role model that the world has ever seen, or that the United States has ever seen, within your term in the office. And so, as a young black child, I'm looking at Donald Trump. Do I want to be a, you know what I'm saying? Do I want to be a president? Like nothing about that is inspiring or is going to motivate me. If anything, that just makes me want to hate you even more. And it makes politics nowadays so confusing, bro. So, like me, I'm just now getting to politics. And it's so confusing to where I don't even want to deal with it no more.
No, I understand. I think it is good, though, that he took the mask off. Like, the mask of what politics are got taken off. Like, a lot of things are seen for what they are now because of that presidency.
And a lot of, like we were talking about earlier, a lot of that hidden racism. Thank God that he came in office, because a lot of people who were hidden racists have now came out. And we see true colors nowadays.
Yeah, but you're also seeing true colors about the pandemic, where you see people that were, like, calling the cops. Remember in the beginning of the pandemic, you saw people that were, like, threatening to call the cops on people because they were congregating or gathering or going to their job in XYZ. And then those same people were, like, marching in these BLM protests, all gathering and telling everyone to gather together. And then they're talking about defunding the police when they were calling the cops on you for trying to, like, go see your friends. It was like the same people like that were doing that. And that's like, it's just, you see a lot of true colors on every fucking aspect. You see people's true color, like everybody's true colors are coming out, which is good though, because now you know who your people are. You know who you can rely on. Like, you know what you would do if you were in Germany in the 1930s. You know how you would act.
Real recognize real.
Yeah, like you
real
know
recognize real.
If you lived in Germany in 1930, in the 1930s and 1940s, like you know exactly who you would be and how you would behave and how you would conduct yourself and what you would do for human beings. And one thing that I will say about myself is that I would have done the right thing if I lived in Germany during that time period. And not just because I'm a Jew, but like I would have.
How so?
I wouldn't be reporting Jews for I wouldn't be reporting people for hiding Jews in their house.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? I probably would. I'd probably be the one that was hiding them.
Yeah. No, I definitely feel you on that.
That they had like a lot of Jewish resistance movements back in the day that no one really talked about, where you had people from like Jewish neighborhoods that would go and like fucking fight Nazis like in the dark and fuck them up like on the low, and nobody knew about it and no one talked about it. There were these like little small like resistance factions. So, if shit I would hope that I would join one of those groups if I was alive during that time frame. So you had a lot of stuff like that went down during that time frame,
That's just that time frame. There's so much. It's like you said earlier, man. Like, the world has always been in chaos.
Yeah.
To a certain degree.
Yeah.
Has the world not ever been in war?
There's always been something, right?
There's always been
something really weird that's going on, and I think that what's happening now with this Floyd stuff, I hope that they convict this guy, but I think that people should prepare for him walking or getting a light sentence.
Yeah.
Because
there's
going to be a lot of unrest. There's going to be a lot of.
Look at George Zimmerman, a man who brutally murdered this child.
But that guy was also fucking him up too.
Okay, well, what can you do? You walking home minding your business, and the man run up on you.
No, I mean,
what are you gonna do?
Hey, I'm not arguing for that guy. I'm just saying that that circumstance is a little bit. It's a bad circumstance, right? But you didn't see the type of unrest with You didn't see the same type of unrest with Trayvon Martin as with like George Floyd.
Well, also at the same time, there was no video footage. There was no witnesses really truly around.
That's
so
true.
I mean,
it is. Didn't see all that.
It's confusing. But I'm putting myself in Trayvon's shoes, and like I said, if somebody runs up on me while I'm eating a bag of Skittles and minding my business, and
telling you you're not in the right neighborhood and you look sketchy because you're wearing like a hood.
Exactly.
Like,
and that's blatant. That's racism right there. I'm speaking on me as a grown man. You are not going to tell me when, where, and what I should be doing.
No, I agree. I agree with you. I agree. I'm not arguing. I think that guy. I think that they also overcharge these people too to get them to walk. I think a lot of these DAs will overcharge people because they don't want them to go to jail, or because it's a way to just spend a bunch of taxpayer money on these like initiatives.
Also, the system the system alone is racist too.
You know that if they charge, like, I think that what George Zimmerman did, I don't know, like if I'm on a jury, it might be hard to convict him of murder, but you know what a manslaughter charge carries in Florida?
How much?
Like 20 years, and that was manslaughter. Yeah, like if I were on a jury, I'd probably convict him of manslaughter. So why don't you charge him with manslaughter and then he'll get 20 years anyway? Like, you think that guy's gonna make it through jail?
I would hope not.
Probably not, right?
I hope not.
Like, his life is already gonna be miserable. Like, his life is a jail sentence.
Is it though? But this motherfucker already sold. What did he sell? He sold something. I think he sold like the gun that
he killed him with?
Yeah, and he sold a couple other like merchandises. Man,
But
I
he sold
don't
some
know,
paintings.
man.
Okay, but you know how much money he owes as a result of everything. Like, that guy, his life. It doesn't matter. Like, you're George Zimmerman. Like, you can't go anywhere, man. That guy can't go anywhere. And there have been so many stories of him getting his ass whipped, like, on the news. Like,
Has there been?
Yeah, there have been a
heard
few
any
stories.
stories of
There's been a
anybody
couple
touching
stories.
him.
No, there have been a few stories where he got in a fight with and he's got his fucking ass beat and stuff. Yeah, man, look, fuck that guy, and I think he should have gone to jail.
Yeah,
but like
hell yeah.
that being said, just looking at this objectively, like you got a scarlet letter on your neck for the rest of your life. It's like Brock Turner, like that kid who raped that chick in Stanford a few years ago. Remember that kid?
Yeah.
Like, what do you think like your life is gonna be like if you're Brock Turner?
You're done for.
You're done. Okay, you got 6 months in jail. That's fucked up. He should have done more time, right? But at the same time, it's like this kid will never get a job. And he should. Like, this kid won't get a job. Like, anytime this kid, like, meets a girl to try to date somebody, all they got to do is do a search on him. Like, he can never date anybody seriously. He can never get married. He can never be accepted by anybody's family that isn't his. Like, he'll never have any friends. Like, you can never go out with this kid in public.
Yeah.
Anytime, like, this kid goes out somewhere, somebody can recognize who he is. Like, he's never safe.
Let me ask you.
And good, and I'm glad that that's the case. But I think that a lot of people they look at something and they get outraged by what they see on a headline, right?
Yeah.
And they don't understand the bigger picture that like this guy's getting what he deserves. You just don't see it.
So we're talking about racism right
We're
now,
talking about racism.
right?
Yeah.
So, as a pedicab driver, let me ask you this question: have you ever experienced any type of racism while pedicabbing?
Well, no, I don't think so. But I'll tell you this: though, I've had people like talk down on me and think that they were better than me because of the job I have.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I had a guy like make fun of me. I had some guy like talking shit to me during the summer. Because I told him I was like, hey, I'm not gonna vote for Biden and this and that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, why? You're fucking poor anyway. You're always gonna be poor. You're a pedicab driver. And he was just getting in my face and getting aggressive with me, saying I'm poor. I'm like, you don't even know my financial situation or anything about me. And I'm not gonna have a big argument with you about that. I'm just like, dude, you need a hug, bro. You want a hug, man? I'm right here. Like, I'm right here. Like, I'll give like I was just laughing at him, and I'm just like,
No, yeah, definitely.
But I mean, I've had shit like that happen to me a couple times. I have definitely people like look down on me, especially when I first started or when I was like before. I think before like the mayor stuff and before like fighting MMA and before like the rap songs and before like actually doing things that have made myself known to stand out. Whereas like, oh, I'm somebody that's using pedicabbing to do something else. I think before all that, I definitely felt like I was being looked down upon constantly because of my job.
Yeah.
So I definitely did feel like a sense of discrimination. I felt like when I was like going on dates and stuff, like, and it's not like what you've gone through, but I'm saying like I've definitely had people like look down on me because of my job.
Yeah.
You know, when I go on like Bumble or Tinder, I'd meet a girl, like nobody would want to take me seriously, and they wouldn't say it, but it'd be like, oh, you know, you go out with some chick, right, and like, you know, you sleep together a couple times and you're getting along really well and she's cool and you're cool and you like spending time with her, and then it's like, hey man, I'm really not like, you know, I'm going through some stuff. I'm not able to commit to anything. You know, I have a lot to worry about. I got to work on my career. You hear all these like bullshit excuses, and it's really just what they're really saying is, I'm not going to date a pedicab driver. That's really what they're saying without them saying it. Because then it's like you see on Instagram they're dating some fucking software nerd like 2 months later.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I dealt with that, you know, but I haven't like been like, man, hey white boy, you gonna give me a, you know, I never dealt with I never had any of that stuff, you know, like.
No, yeah.
I've never had like a group of black people like fuck with me because of my skin color. Like I've never had that stuff happen while I'm petty.
I mean, I've had black people fuck with me because of my skin color, but it was
You
just
see,
like, nah. But it's like, all right. So, growing up, you gotta, you know, as a light skinned dude who's mixed, you know, my mother's white, my dad's black. It's just like, we're just gonna test you real quick, like, and just see where you stand. And so I would get tested. It was nothing ever serious where I'd be shunned or, oh, well, I like hate your guts. And it was nothing I ever experienced when it comes to racism from white people. It was when it came to like white people being racist, bro, it was very aggressive. Very
white
aggressive.
people being racist?
Aggressive.
Like how? Well, that's not from that one instance.
Aggressive. There's that one. I've had somebody who I've had some people Speaking of this wasn't too long. This was like 2 months ago. I've had some people from Florida, right, come sit at the bar, and I greet them. Oh, no, we're not waiting on you. We're waiting on somebody else. We're waiting on another bartender. Okay, well, you're sitting in my section. The other bartender's busy. Let me be nice. Let me go try and grab him. He was like, no, I can't grab him. I'm busy. Went back and told him. They were like, no, we'll wait. We don't want to be served by you.
They said we don't want to be served by you.
We don't want to be served by you.
Dude, that's pretty bad, man. Yeah, it's bad. There's no that's bad. I'm sorry that you got to deal with that.
It is what it is. You know what it is? Because it builds growth and it builds character to myself. That's fine.
Wait, what bar is this at?
This is at my bar on Rainey.
What? Not a Halcyon, though. Definitely not a Halcyon.
No. I've never really experienced racism at Halcyon. That's a boiling pot. You got people from all different genres and
Halcyon's great. Although I think that
so that's where we met at. We met at
Halcyon. I love that spot.
Ago, yeah.
I think that the staff at Halcyon has kind of changed though from last year to this year.
Oh, bro, it's way different. It's not the same.
And I'm like,
if I'm not there, it's not good.
Like, dude, yeah, people are walking in there. People got like double masks on and stuff trying to serve me. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, yo? Like, you don't need to.
Hey, but if they want to do that, let them do that.
That's your choice. That's your choice. I get it. I understand. It just, it rubs me the wrong way, man. I don't like it. I'm not going to yell at you, talk shit, or do anything. I'm kind of a little bit like on the podcast, but like, I don't like it, man. When you're wearing 2 masks and you're trying to serve me, it's like makes it seem like you don't. It makes it seem like A, you don't want to be there, and B, you don't want to interact with me, and C, it's like to mandate that somebody has to wear a mask when they go. Actually, I understand Halcyon because you're next to all the gay clubs and there's like the HIV and the immunocompromised stuff. Like I understand that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I understand that, but just in general, man, like for places to still require you to wear a mask, that's so fucking bad for the environment. Yeah. All the shit that gets thrown in the trash and the water, and it just like you can't fucking breathe with this thing on anyway, and you can't interact with people. And it's like when the more people that wear masks, I've had this discussion too. The more it fosters division because you can't fucking talk to people because everyone's got a fucking muzzle on their face.
I only wear a mask where it's like really required. Like when I'm bartending, we have to wear a mask.
But that's bullshit though. Like if the customer doesn't have to wear a mask, you shouldn't have to wear a mask. That isn't right. Like, you shouldn't have to wear one. If you don't want to wear a mask, you should not have to wear one. If the customers aren't wearing one, you should not have to wear it.
These are things that I cannot control. I'm here to abide.
I'll talk to your owner, man. I'll have your owner come up. Which bar? You know what? I'm going to have the owner of your bar come on the podcast, and I'm going to be like, why are you making your employees wear masks if the customers aren't?
But this is really all over the city, though. I mean, I'm not saying that every establishment, but every other bar, especially every other bar on Rainey Street, there's like 4 bars on Rainey Street that require masks.
A lot of them don't, though. Unbelievable doesn't give a shit. I know bars on 6th Street don't give a fuck. I
would never. Speaking of racism with that bar, do you know about that?
I heard stories, but at the same time, most people he hires are like black people anyway.
It doesn't matter. How can you as an owner say certain things like that? I can't remember what he said, but it was about
he said a lot of crazy shit.
A lot of crazy stuff, a lot of racist stuff.
Yeah, but he also tipped me $150 once when I gave him a ride.
Man,
playing my rap songs. Man, so I kind of like
I don't care, man. I don't represent any of that.
I don't know, man. Like a
that's
lot
like
of the
that's
people
like somebody. Hold on, I don't mean to interrupt.
No,
that's like somebody being racist to you, and his wife come up. I'm sorry about that. Here's $100. You really gonna accept that $100 for that man being racist towards you?
Yeah, because I get invested and turn it into something even bigger. I'll accept it. I'm not gonna like the guy, but I'll take the money.
I might take it too.
You'll take the money. You'll take I'll take the money.
Depending on how I'm feeling and how my pockets are feeling.
I'll take the money. No,
most of the time, man, I just can't respect that, man.
I get it. But then at the same time, he has so many black employees and Hispanic employees that have been there for such a long time. They haven't left, right? And there's probably a reason why they haven't left.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's what I'm saying. Like
I guess.
If they're not saying anything bad about him, and they're still and like the same group of people that are bouncing at that bar were there for the past year and a half, 2 years. How bad is he really if these people are still staying? I mean, it's just a question, right?
No, I mean, it's a good question. You're not wrong. I don't know if you're right, but I don't know. I just don't respect something. When you first say something like that, I can't respect your true colors because one, you didn't came out of character. 2, I can't respect it. And when you lose my respect, I'm done with you.
You don't get it back. No, I understand. I get that completely. I get it. It's been a tough year, man. But dude, they've been also like. They've been trying to call people racist who don't want to wear masks. Have you heard about that shit?
No. What? No, I've not.
Look at
Who said this?
Our public safety commissioner. His name is Chris Harris. Let me show this to you, bro.
Chris Harris said this?
Yeah.
How recent was this? It doesn't even matter if it was recent.
You know who that guy is? You know who that guy is, right?
Yeah, I know who that is.
I'll show you. Let me show you what this fucking clown said. March 7th, like a month ago.
It's wild that you can mostly tell who's racist because they literally took their mask off. Come on, bro.
Yeah. Like, this type of shit literally fuels more racism.
What is race? Never mind.
You know what is race?
Nothing.
Nothing. The only argument is that like you're taking your mask off because you're listening to Donald Trump and you're listening to right-wing news outlets that are telling you to take your mask off. But that's not even true because they have a lot of other. There are people like Alex Berenson and all that and stuff like that, and Glenn Greenwald and all these other outlets who are not even right-wing that talk about how prolonged mask wearing is bad for you anyway.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't mean shit. And then when we had these reopen rallies and stuff, they were calling all the people that were going to the reopen rallies white supremacists.
You can't classify everybody.
I know it undermines it. Like when you try to classify everything as extremism and white supremacy, all you do is create more racism, man. You know, because then when real racism happens, people ignore it. People are like, "Oh, it's like the boy who cried wolf, dude." You know, and then when that stuff actually starts happening, people just become desensitized to it, and then you create more of that stuff in the future.
We all just need to smoke some weed, chill out, calm down, and just hang out and have a drink, and we'd be good to go. The world would be a better place.
I agree, bro. I had a cop on. Did I show you this clip? I had an ex-cop on who's been a cop for 30 years that was like Art Acevedo security detail, right? Okay. This guy, Dennis Farris. And I had a whole discussion with him about why our police officers should be allowed to smoke and how marijuana testing is a fucking outdated principle for policing. Yeah. And I talked about this for like 5 or so minutes, and I gave a whole list of reasons, and I'm like, yo, we need more cops because of everything that's happening. So why are you creating barriers to entry? Right, over a plant. You know, 2, you got such a stressful job with what you're dealing with. You should smoke. It'll probably make you better at handling certain conflicting situations if you were able to smoke.
Yes.
Right. And C, like anybody who's between the ages of like 20 and 30, the age that most people become cops, probably have smoked weed within the time frame that they're not supposed to. Yeah. And so all you're doing is attracting people who can pass a polygraph test, which means you're creating a system that attracts psychopaths.
Yeah, that's the system that they want,
though. You know what I mean? Like, just if you change that system, and if you mandated that, like, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu training was mandatory for police departments.
That would be a good...
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Like, first of all, a lot of those chokes would be allowed because the cops would know how to do it correctly, right? And B, you'd be less likely to actually use deadly force because you'd feel a lot calmer in a stressful situation. Because no matter what whatever happens as a cop, I understand that, like, sometimes you need to draw a weapon and, you know, you're at a disadvantage if, like, you might think someone's trying to reach for your stuff and whatever. But... when you're doing like jiu-jitsu or a combat sport like that, you're always like in a stressful situation when someone's in mount or has your back or in side control or going for a choke or going for an armbar. Yeah. You got to be cool and get yourself out of a bad situation and keep your calm. So it just automatically teaches you to be calm under stress. So and when you're calm under stress, you're less likely to shoot somebody, bro. Yeah. Like it's common sense, man. Like
those are good tactics. Putting a knee on somebody's neck when they're obviously are under the influence is not a healthy thing to do.
No, fuck that guy.
Correct.
Fuck that guy.
So hands down, R.I.P. George.
Yeah.
We miss you and you will be missed, but you will never be forgotten because that name and many other names prior to him have honestly changed the movement within this country.
But, yo, dude, hey, before we wrap up, though, here's another criticism I had about this whole movement, and I just realized I forgot to talk about this earlier. How much money that BLM received, because they received like $1 billion. They received a lot of money, right? Maybe $10 billion. They received a fuckload of money, right?
$1 billion?
I think probably more. They received a lot of money, right?
Talk about reparations right there.
Okay, but how much of that money? Okay. How much of that money actually went to black communities? How much of that money went to even local chapters? Like nobody even knows. Like that money's not even accounted for, man.
I'm not quite sure. I did read something recently that a dude who was part of BLM was received a lot of money from GoFundMe, and he he was buying drugs. I think he bought a prostitute and like some other things. But the money can be used in wrong ways. So I mean, that's a good question, bro. I don't know where that money's going.
But you would think that should be a big deal, right? Like with all the money that was raised from this, like you think that money should be going to like rebuild black communities, and what it should also be doing is it should be teaching financial literacy in those communities. Yes. And you got to teach these people about crypto investing. You have to, man. Like there's no other way, especially with the fact that like everyone talks about reparations. Like, look, whether it happens now or later, it's probably going to happen before we die.
You think so?
Yeah, I think it'll happen. The next 50 years, it'll happen. Yeah. But I'll tell you this, if you don't have a financially educated public that knows how to like invest that money and make it grow, it's going to go out the window and it'll create even more racism than what we have now.
Yeah. I'll tell you what.
You know what I mean? Like you have to start teaching that now, and you got to prepare for when you do get that reparations check. You got to understand like how to like invest that money into Bitcoin, like how to like how the stock market works, like how to invest in companies, how to start
Education,
businesses,
man.
how to do taxes properly, how to make an LLC. You have to start teaching that stuff, and you got to put like emphasis on teaching that into these in black communities, because if not, you're gonna get the same fucking. You're gonna
Yeah.
get the same like culture of poverty, the same culture of oppression, the same tension. It's just like.
Not even just black, even in the Latino community as well too. You know, I'm not Hispanic, but I represent them as well too, and I love them as well. So it does start with the educational system, man. If we can educate, I've learned more in the real world since I've been out of school than when I was in school, to be honest with you.
No, agreed. 100%, man. 100%. Like you have to do that. You gotta do that. You know that like before we go, you know what the statistic is for like NBA players after 5 years of playing. Like how many NBA players, like the percentage of NBA players who go broke after 5 years?
It's probably in the 60,
It's in the
60%.
60%, yeah. What about NFL players? You know the NFL stat?
I don't.
78%.
78. Okay.
So it's like you give a big reparations checks, right?
Mm-hmm.
To a community that has been underfunded, underserved, not educated the same way because of institutional factors, redlined from fucking certain neighborhoods, forced to live in areas of high crime that was enabled by fucking governments that pretend to care about you, but they don't. What's going to happen when they give most of y'all a check? What do you think's going to happen to the money with these types of factors in play?
I would hope everybody does it. I don't know. I don't know.
You know what I mean?
don't
like,
know.
do you understand what I'm saying? Though?
I
So
get
it's
what
like
you're
you gotta do certain things to make it so that you create a foundation so that when that money comes,
Right.
which I think it should eventually, it's got to be used right. Like it's gotta be used to make the money grow in those communities.
I'd rather be wealthy than rich.
Yeah.
I want my kids to be wealthy.
You
and
want
be
passive income. You
comfortable.
want to
Yep.
have that. You want to at least have that mindset where you think about developing that. Like, that's not even, and it's not being emphasized enough. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, and that's the media too, bro. Like,
Not even that, conversations like this, to where somebody sits down and talk about this. It's always arguing and never somebody sitting down and having conversations like this that need to be heard.
No, I agree with you. I wish we could talk about this a little more. Unfortunately, we got to wrap up. We got a hard cutoff time. I think we passed it, right? Whatever.
Yeah,
All right. Anyway, this is Tay Livingston. Tay, how can we get a hold of you, man?
Also, I got a show as well too. It's called Taste of Tay. I do bar reviews, food truck reviews, restaurant reviews. Check it on Instagram. On Instagram, it's Texas Tay, Tayy. And yeah, big shout out to Alex. Showing me love.
Of course, dude. Hey, Tay Livingston, ladies and gentlemen.